All right, let's dive in. Today, we are going to look at history in a completely different way. Forget the dusty textbooks for a minute. Instead, I want you to put on your detective hat. Think of the past as a giant mystery, and we're the ones on the case, looking for clues. So let's start with the most basic question there is. What even is history? It seems simple, right? But the answer is a lot more interesting than you might think. For a lot of us, this is probably what comes to mind. We think of school, of memorizing names, dates, battles, this fixed, finished story that's just handed to us. But is that really all it is? Or what if it's something else entirely? What if it's more like a grand detective story, a huge, sprawling mystery where historians are the investigators, trying to piece together what actually happened? Now that's an idea we can really dig into. Just imagine it. The entire human past is one giant, unsolved puzzle. The pieces are scattered everywhere. Some are missing, maybe forever, and a lot of them don't seem to fit together at all. A historian's job? It's to try and make sense of that beautiful mess.
For the longest time, we just assumed that history books were the final word on the subject. The story was written down, and that was that. But you have to ask yourself, what if those books are only telling one part of the story? What if all the really good stuff is missing?
And that question brings us to this really crucial shift in thinking. To truly get what the past was like, we have to go beyond just reading the summary. We have to start looking at the evidence for ourselves.
This quote really just hits the nail on the head. This whole legacy of bookish learning makes history feel static, like it's set in stone. But the truth is, it's a living, breathing field of inquiry, and it's changing all the time.
So what this really means is we have to stop being just passive listeners and start becoming active participants. See, real historical thinking is all about asking your own questions, challenging what you think you know, and getting your hands dirty with the actual traces the past left behind.
Okay, so if we're going to be detectives, we need some tools, right? What does a historian actually use to solve these mysteries? Well, let's open up the toolkit and take a look.
It all boils down to this concept called the historian's craft. And it's not about having all the answers locked away in your brain. No, it's about knowing how to find them. It's the skill of taking some silent object or a forgotten piece of writing and figuring out how to make it tell its story. And the clues? Man, they are everywhere. They can be something massive, like the ruins of a city, or something incredibly small and personal, like a diary entry. It could be an official government report, or a story someone's grandmother told them. Every single one holds a different piece of the puzzle. Now, finding a clue is really just the beginning. The real magic, the actual detective work, starts when historians begin to decode them. And that whole process, it doesn't start with the clue. It starts with the questions you ask about it. Seriously, you could be holding the most amazing piece of evidence in your hands, but if you don't bring a curious mind to it, if you don't ask the right questions, it just stays silent. Its secrets remain locked away. This is a perfect example. When the archaeologist Alexander Cunningham first stumbled upon a seal from the ancient Harappan civilization, he couldn't make any sense of it. To him, it was just a weird little object. It took other people coming along later with new knowledge and new questions to finally unlock its incredible importance. And you have to remember, different clues tell very different stories. Just look at this comparison. An official record of a rebellion, it's going to give you one side of the story, probably the government's side. But a diary from one of the rebels? Whoa. That opens up a completely different world, their personal feelings, their motivations. You absolutely need both to even get close to the truth. What's even crazier is that the very definition of what counts as a clue has changed over time. It used to be that if it wasn't a written, official document, it wasn't trusted. But then historians started asking new questions, like, what was life like for regular people? And to answer that, they had to find new sources, like oral histories, to uncover all those experiences that were never written down. So this isn't just about how professionals work in a university somewhere. This is a mindset, a way of thinking that you can adopt right now. And when you do, history stops being a subject in a book and starts being a world that's just waiting for you to explore. I just love this quote because it's not a statement, it's an invitation. It's inviting you to stop being just a spectator on the sidelines and to actually join in on this amazing conversation with the past, to join the investigation. Because ultimately, that's what history truly is. It is not a finished story. It's not a monologue being dictated to us from the past. It is an ongoing and sometimes messy conversation. And every new clue we find, every new question we ask, adds another voice to that chat.
So there it is. The puzzle is laid out, waiting for you. The clues are all around us, in museums, in archives, in the stories our families tell, even buried right under our feet. There's only one question left. Really, what will you discover?